Have you ever felt like the very thing that makes you special is the same thing that attracts the most hate? Today, we're diving into a powerful story about a young girl named Mira, whose incredible gift almost led to her ruin, but ultimately became the salvation of an entire land. This is a story of jealousy, supernatural power, and the kind of justice you only see once in a lifetime. It all begins in the ancient village of Omana, where Mira was born with the most astonishing hair anyone had ever seen. It was a river of midnight, black and pure, glowing white, cascading all the way down to her knees. Her wise mother always told her, "Mira, beauty is a shadow, but character is the sun that never sets." Sadly, tragedy struck fast. A sudden fever claimed her father, and the weight of grief took her mother just a day later. Before Mira could even process her loss, her greedy uncle cast her out, seizing the family land and leaving her an orphan with nothing. Alone and heartbroken, Mira found herself at the mercy of her auntie Dorcas, a woman with a heart as cold as ice. Dorcas and her daughter Kioma treated Mira not as family, but as a servant. She scrubbed floors, fetched water, and sold fruit under a scorching sun, yet her hair remained as radiant as ever. Kioma, consumed by envy, wasted her mother's money on chemicals trying to imitate Mira's supernatural glow, but it was no use. The more Mira suffered, the more her hair seemed to hum with a strange, divine energy. One evening, after Dorcas beat her cruelly, the room erupted in a blinding flash of light that came from Mira's hair. It was reacting to her pain. But instead of fear of God, Dorcas felt a different kind of fear, the fear of being overshadowed. And that fear was about to turn into pure evil. The breaking point came when a crowd in the market, fueled by ignorance, accused Mira of witchcraft simply because she tried to help a fallen man. Seeing her chance, Dorcas's jealousy exploded. "I will end this glory today," she shrieked. That night, she and Kioma cornered Mira. The midnight strands, once glowing with life, fell to the floor like dying stars. Mira was left bald, bleeding, and utterly broken. But as the last strand fell, it wasn't just Mira's spirit that was crushed. It was as if the life force of the entire village was surveyed along with it. 1 month to the day after Mira's hair was cut, a terrible change swept over Omana. The sky turned a sickening brassy color. The rivers turned to cracked mud, and the vibrant crops withered into gray dust. A spiritual drought had choked the land, and no priests or spiritualists could find a cure. The village was dying. Mira, now an outcast, blamed for the curse, dragged herself to her parents' grave, ready to give up. As her tears soaked into the dry earth, a miraculous thing happened. A spirit, a woman made of clouds and light, appeared before her. With a single, gentle touch, Mira's hair exploded back into existence, longer, brighter, and more powerful than ever before. The spirit spoke, her voice like wind chimes. "You are the savior. 1 strand for the river, 100 for the earth. The mercy they denied you, you must now give to them." Filled with a new, divine purpose, Mira walked straight into the king's palace, her head glowing like a lantern in the gloom. The king and his court mocked her at first, but with their land on the brink of collapse, they were desperate. They allowed her to try. Mira went to the dry riverbed and dropped a single, shimmering silver strand onto the cracked earth. The effect was immediate and terrifying. A sound like thunder shook the ground as a great wall of water came roaring back, filling the river to its banks in seconds. The people gasped in awe. Next, she went to the village junction and buried 100 strands of her hair. By the next morning, the dead fields were bursting with green corn and yams. The land was alive again. The king, humbled and astounded, fell to his knees before her. From this day, he declared to all, "Mira is the mother of the land." And so, the story comes full circle. Mira, the scorned orphan, was dressed in the finest silks and gold, becoming the second in command of the entire kingdom. And what of her tormentors? Auntie Dorcas and Kioma were lost in the cheering crowd, dressed in rags, their faces a permanent mask of shame and regret. Mira never sought revenge. She didn't have to. The universe had already balanced its own scales. Her story teaches us that what is divinely planted cannot be destroyed by human hands. It proves that character is the true source of power, and that jealousy ultimately brings a drought only upon the one who feels it. Mira's journey shows that even after the deepest cut, restoration is not only possible, it can be more glorious than you ever imagined. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories that will touch your soul.